Hello there, my name is Retro Lucky Talk About Animation, and today we'll talk about Unicorn Warriors Eternal Episode 8. And this episode was pretty badass. I mean, you do have more than one fight scene, especially what happened in the very beginning. That I like that sort of deep conversation with the Elf Prince, that he's sort of scared, asking specific questions that is sort of kind of interesting. Like, what after you defeat the main villain? Do their souls disappear, transform back to the robot, or what? I mean, what actually happened to them? And they honestly don't know. That sort of fear that they easily could be their last fight, last moment with them, especially the elf prince, that he has nothing else left. Like, he gave up everything to defeat this evil villain and also be with Melinda, and yet he's so scared. He doesn't know what to do, what to believe. Just keep going. And I love it that they all try, at least, well, not all, at least Melinda tried to comfort him, or also try to answer the question. Like we don't have an answer, but we have to keep moving on for right now till they figure out what happens. But I love that sort of deepness, sort of respectedness of the characters. They're scared, but they know they have to keep going. That sort of interesting sort of conversation, just kind of fascinating, because there's not a lot of shows, or these specifically Western shows, really ask kind of questions like what happened to us next. The only time I see this sort of anime, not all the time, but some of the anime do sort of give us like kind of 10 minutes sort of after the break fight, after they defeated the main villain, to see what happened to the characters after. But this is so interesting that the whole team don't have sort of maybe the happy ending, and I would be surprised if they didn't, if this show finally ends the next two episodes. But besides that, I found that sort of fascinating. Also, in between this her deep conversation, they have a sort of explosion in the train, and the whole team believes, oh, it's the great evil one, let's stop him. And you realize, no, it's Winston, Emma's ex-husband or fiance, who turned into a werewolf. And you have to say, Winston is basically a dumbass. He's that sort of guy who is sort of obsessed with sort of love, or not obsessed, he's sort of stuck in his own little bubble, not really thinking a few steps ahead. Like, you just see the problem, but he doesn't see the future problems with this sort of scenario he put himself, because he's sort of happy he is a werewolf, so he can stuck with Melinda, so he can work with her, be in the team, be great. But you realize, no, this curse is a really bad thing. And besides, he's not really trained to use his werewolf form, or understand his werewolf form, how to use it properly. Like, he got lucky, especially his anger sort of helped him focus of the elf prince, because how much he despised him, and the elf prince, he despised Winston equally. But at the same time, you can see Emily like, yeah, no, guys, not now. I mean, it's sort of obvious, but at the same time, she wants to help Winston to figure out how to cure him, but Winston doesn't want to be cured. He wants to be with Melinda, but once again, he's sort of not seeing the full, basically, picture of his situation. Till Merlin reappears and interrupt the sort of argument and tell him, follow me, something big happened, I couldn't stop it, let's go. But I love it that Merlin has this sort of grand story about this great battle with this sort of, I think, god or hero. I think he's Indian type of character who is in mythology, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if this character was made up for this type of show. Honestly, I don't know anything about this sort of god tiger, that I can't say his name. I mean, it's sort of obvious I'm struggling with names. But besides that, this tiger character was a badass. Especially he go 1-on-1 with Merlin, and the fight scene was pretty lit. It was like, whoa, it was great. Especially like Merlin, like, yeah, look, I don't want to fight anymore. Like, I came here for something very specific, not for you. And they have sort of an agreement, like, yeah, we should stop fighting, figure out what's going on exactly, because the great evil one is basically destroying the forest, and both decided to team up, destroy this sort of machine. But they sort of did, but not really, because it wasn't the right machine, was the other one. And he goes, here we go again, another badass fight scene. But before actually showing it what actually happened, Merlin just cuts off, like, yeah, that's enough, let's go. And the whole team, like, wait, like, I mean, you can't cut it off us in the middle of the conversation, especially you made it so hyped up to this great battle, and you just cut it off. Yeah, like Merlin, like, there's no time. It's, let's go on. Yeah, just enjoy that. Like, I fear Merlin is sort of a diva that likes the attention, but he doesn't do it on purpose. He just don't have more time. I mean, you sort of set up so hype, like you have to make time now. But besides that, something was sort of interesting that Merlin wasn't really acting like Merlin. I mean, it's something you do see, and like something's off, especially how he matches teams with his own daughter and with the elf prince and in Melinda's ex boyfriend with the elf prince, and it's something strange. I mean, you do notice something's completely off, but besides that, you do focus a little bit more about the elf prince and Winston. That sort of I hate you sort of relationship. They do sort of question themselves and the situation they really put themselves in. I think one of the biggest examples is the elf prince points out something very specific, like, what if they do defeat the Great One? Belinda could be back to normal, but you won't, because you're a werewolf. You basically stuck to this kind of illness for the rest of your life. And that's, you can see that sort of eyes widening, realize, oh, I screwed up. I mean, of course you screwed up, because you were too sort of love blind in a way. Like, you can see he doesn't see the things before it actually happens. Even it's sort of obvious. Even you realize, like, yeah, something is not right. But besides that, I do like that sort of mini fight with Winston and the elf prince go at each other. That the elf prince trying not to lose his cool, it just punch him. But be fair, he deserved the punch. I mean, let's be honest. Winston deserved to be smacked. At least scuffle a little bit, because, bro, come on, you cannot be that love sickness that deeply with Melinda, because you're not a very good position to help or do anything to help the situation they actually are. But he's sort of a stubborn jackass. He just doesn't get it till he sort of realized the situation, how the elf prince pointed out. But I love that they have this sort of interesting sort of fight scene, elf versus werewolf sort of situation. But I don't like one thing about this fight. They cut it halfway, like, you tease me. Why you tease me? Like, I was sort of miffed because I wanted to see the fight. But besides that, you actually focus on Melinda and Merlin. There's sort of that conversation of father and daughter sort of relationship. They sort of understanding. They sort of need to figure it out. But the conversation sort of went something strange. That Melinda kind of wondering what's going on exactly. Due at this point, you usually have the monk and the robot find the bodies of the tiger and also the mechanic or the engineer who created the whole ship dead. And they were sort of confused, like, why Merlin bring us if the main evil villain died? And that doesn't make sense. And believe me, I was sort of questioning myself when I saw that body and went to Belinda to Merlin back. You know, I was like, so the one possessed Merlin, or Merlin was lying all this time? There's so many questions, because honestly, I can see this a mile away because how Merlin was actually acting. But when he attacks his own daughter with the green sort of magic, he was sort of maybe possessed about the evil one. But this was sort of make it interesting because you just don't know what actually happened, and that sort of kind of can confuse you. It asks a lot of questions. Why? and not in a bad way. It's almost like, yeah, I'm missing certain parts that I want to know, but I know I probably will not get the answer because we only have 2 episodes left. And that's what like kind of intrigued me even more. And especially they left it as a cliffhanger once again. I'd be like, bro, no! Like they ended there with Merlin takes down Melinda in her own hands. Oh well, his magic abilities, grabbing her and controlling her. That you don't know, just gotta kill her, possess her, rip her apart. You just don't know. But that's the thing that just pissed me off a little bit. Like, oh come on, you got the good stuff. You ended the serious part. I was just angry. Like I couldn't express myself the right way. But I was hyped for the next episode because the next episode is basically season sharing when Melinda and the Elf Prince sort of met. I guess we're doing the same thing, sort of cutting back and forth moments of their lives, what happened before and what they live to right now. And that could be fascinating. Hope they actually show the fight scene because I was sort of pissed off a couple of times, but in a good way. I mean, not in a bad way. The fact I was really enjoying this sort of episode, especially I felt the episode wasn't long enough because I wanted more. In fact, I feel if they allow him Gendy to create like 42-minute episodes, that will be probably better. I'm very too greedy because I want more. Or give us 2-part episodes each week, but at the same time, it's working. That 1 episode a week just drags you to see what happens next, to see this sort of grand story Gindi is creating, even that is sort of basic but so well done. It also doesn't allow you answering all the questions. Just didn't in a way just grab your attention to see what happens next. It does that so well. It just I want more. Especially what happened this episode. Like you left me in the cliffhanger. Why? But besides that, I have one question. How you felt about the episode? Do you like it? Do you hate Wilson? Do you think the Elf Prince is right? Or basically, which you think is the better person for Melinda, the Elf Prince, or Winston? Tell me down below. Let me know. Honestly, I got nothing else to say. Just thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.